Welcome everyone to Cinema Regulars, the movie review show where we see so many movies in theaters that the employees know us by name and they don't ask us what movies we're seeing, they ask us how many. Now, we are back. I'm gonna say this right out the gate. This is probably gonna be one of our more heated debates here, reviews, because we got off some very interesting movies the other day,
Yes, we
and
did.
we are absolutely here to talk about them. Starting us off, we will be talking about The Shift, a brand new sci fi movie from Angel Studios. And we will be moving into the new Christmas action movie by John Woo, Silent Night. And then we will be talking about the new Japanese produced Godzilla Minus One. And then we will be rounding it off with the newest movie starring our boy Nick Cage, Dreams Scenario. And we have quite a bit to talk about on all of these topics here. So I don't think we should waste any time and get right into the first movie, The Shift. Now, Isaac,
Mhm.
I feel that you are most excited to talk about The Shift, so I'll let you handle the summary for this one.
Thank you. So the shift is, I mean, the easiest way to describe what the shift is it's a sci-fi multiverse retelling of the Book of Job from the Bible.
Right.
And like there is, the bad guy, aka Satan. They don't really call him that through the movie, but that's what he represents. And he is trying to recruit the main character, Kevin, to uh join his force, I guess you could say, because he is uh it's kind of hard to explain what the devil is doing. He's basically just breeding chaos
He,
throughout the multiverse by
yeah, he want,
shifting people where they need to be, where
right.
they don't need to be.
He's recruiting all iterations of Kevin from all universes into uh aligning with him so that he can use them to spread more chaos throughout all the universes.
Yes, and the movie is about the Kevin who refused. The
Right.
Kevin that like the main character of the movie is the Kevin who resisted Satan, or the benefactor as they call him.
Right.
And like the movie's about his his struggles to find uh his wife in the multiverse, basically.
Right. Because he's, as he is, he's stuck in this universe that has been completely just overrun.
It's
Like, scripture has been outlawed. It's like a complete and total, like, police state. And it's completely, like, run by the benefactor in every way. And he's just stuck there for 5 years, and the best thing he can do is write down anything he remembers from the Bible and try to share that out and
yeah.
inspire hope and goodness in people, even if they're in this terrible place.
Yeah. The movie, I'm gonna come out right out the gate here. Well, and just say before we start talking about our thoughts on the movie, I really enjoy this movie.
Yes.
Like I really liked this movie.
Yeah, so do I. Angel Studios has been
Eating.
consistently eating. They've been eating nice. They've been eating nice, and they've been sharing that food with the less fortunate as well. That's the coolest thing about Angel Studios is that at the end of every movie, there's a QR code where you can scan it and buy tickets for people who can't afford it. So there's just like this fountain of free tickets online that anyone can go claim and go see it. And I honestly, from a studio, that's just such a cool thing.
Yeah. I forgot to do it before we started because they had a thing where if you went and paid it forward, you got like a special little clip thing for the movie that supposedly changes the way you see the whole movie.
Oh yeah, we so perhaps in the next episode, if we had done that already,
Yeah.
um, we can talk about that and how that changes the movie. But that would be maybe it's like an alternate ending or something, or
Yeah. I'm interested to see what that would be. I definitely have to do it. I just forgot to. But anyway, moving
right.
on. Do you want to talk about your thoughts on the movie itself
Yeah,
first?
I felt that this achieved exactly what it set out to do. Because especially now in the time, especially right after the South Park Pandaverse thing came out, um everyone is really fatigued by the multiverse concept.
Mm-hmm.
Um because every superhero movie is doing it right now. Everything Everywhere All at Once won like 50 awards last year that it didn't really deserve. Uh, and and it's just in everything, every TV show and everywhere. But this played it very, I don't want to say subtly, but they didn't go overly crazy with it. Like
Yeah.
it was literally a guy who got taken from his universe and got put into one other one. He got isekai'd basically, if you want to put it
Yeah.
in those terms. Um,
I mean, it literally happened after he got hit by a truck.
Shut up. Shut up. Anyways, but in all these multiverse movies, especially like the Spider-Man ones, you see that there's all these drastic differences. Like there's the cowboy Spider-Man, there's the cat that's a Spider-Man, there's all these weird
Yeah.
spin-offs that are completely different in every way. But this movie really hones in on like the whole plan of the benefactor is that he sows like discourse amongst people's relationships without them even knowing, so that he's driving like people to get divorced and people to cut off their friends and
Yeah.
cut ties with their family members. Because like the example in the movie that he did is that he shifted his wife from a universe where Kevin promised that he would pay a bill to the main character's universe where Kevin never made that promise. So his so he got into an argument with her where she said, "You said you were gonna pay the bill," and then he said, "Well, I never said anything like that." And then she accused him of lying, and then they got into a big fight over that, and that's the conflict that he seeded. Like that was the whole plan, was to just do that so subtly, and then that's what he's doing on a massive scale. But the small little changes in the multiverse thing is something that you never get seen really, because it's not really that matters. I mean, they say, oh, you change like one little thing and then here you're in this universe where it's completely different. But no, they're switching, like it's entirely the same except for one little thing, and that causes such big changes like
Yeah.
that.
It really emphasizes the small changes lead to big changes thing, but not in a way that other movies, like you said,
Yeah,
other
not in a way that
multiverse movies.
completely like derails the universe,
Yeah, it was pretty good. I really like uh the thing I loved about this movie is it similar but different reason to you. Like you like what the movie did. Like it did the multiverse thing differently to where it didn't feel exhausting in the movie, or it didn't feel like you couldn't follow where you were or what was going on,
Right.
kind of thing. The thing I really liked about this movie is that they just did a faith-based movie differently.
Right.
Like like this is a movie. I think it's really good for the current like climate that the world is in, where it's not really like it's not okay to be inherently religious in today's media,
Yeah.
because that is taken like religion is taken as an attack on certain people.
Right.
And like the fact that this movie is a sci-fi action movie with drama and religion thrown in, like this on its own, like not even taking into account of the fact that it is a religious movie and that gives it points in my column, like taking those
Right.
points away, this is still a good movie. Like this is still
Right.
just a
Yeah. It was
good movie straight up.
right. I was thoroughly entertained as well as any faith aspect of the movie. Like taking that all out, it was just entertaining off the bat.
Yeah, like it was just fun. It was just a fun movie to watch. Like it was, well, I don't want to say fun because it was very emotionally distressing at times. Like that
Okay.
movie hit you a couple times.
Yeah.
But
Um, I,
you know what I mean.
I do. Yeah. Um, Also, props to the not only the acting but the casting in this movie
Oh yeah.
was done phenomenal. Um,
Like I was so happy to see Neil McDonough be be Satan,
yeah, he
be the
plays a good
benefactor.
villain. He plays a good
He
villain.
does. Because like I've known that because he plays Damien Dark in the Arrow show.
Mhm.
And he did insanely well in that. Like he was actually terrifying in that role. And he was even more terrifying in this role. Like dang. Like he
Mhm.
he does it well.
Yeah, and
And
then
then also Sean Astin.
yep, Sean Astin. I was just about to bring that up.
Like I like that he has no problem. Like he is in one of the most popular movie franchises of all time.
Right, Stranger Things.
And he does, but like he does all these religious things and I love it. Well, to be fair, The Lord of the Rings is
Yeah, that's what.
also
That was the joke,
it,
dumbass.
yeah.
Because you were talking about Lord of the Rings, and I said Stranger Things. Way to
But
catch that
no,
as it flew over your head.
no, I was going to say that I was saying he's in all these religious things, and I'm like, well, Lord of the Rings is also inherently religious as
Yeah, it
well.
was based off of Europe, or like not European, but like some. It was rooted in Christianity. The whole Lord
Yeah,
of the Rings thing.
the whole thing, yeah. But still, you know what I mean? Like it's cool to see him, like, because I've seen Sean Astin in several other faith-based movies.
Right.
Like he was in a movie called I want to say it's called Do You Still Believe? And it was actually cool because he was not one of the religious guys in that movie. Well, he wasn't really one of them in this, whatever. Anyway, moving away from the topic.
Do you
Moving away from the
believe?
topic of the movie. Do You
It's called
Believe
Do
is
You
the name of the
Believe?
movie.
There
Yeah,
you go.
that's a good one too. But anyway, moving on.
Moving on.
No, but it was just insane to just see that the Angel Studios is getting these like big name actors to be in these movies. Like it's really cool.
Right. Well, before, before I think this is like their first like original story. I'll have to double check on that, but like mainly what they do is like uh based on true events stuff or retellings of uh stories that already existed.
Yeah, like
But
earlier this year they had, His Only Son and Sound of Freedom, which are both, His Only Son is based on the Bible story of Abraham and Isaac, and then Sound of Freedom is based off a real thing that happened.
well, I mean, one would argue that his only son was also based off a real thing that happened, but
Well, yes, it was based on, you know what I meant. You know what I meant. I meant to
yeah,
say a real thing that happened in recent history.
right, right. Sure you did. Okay.
Oh,
I'm yanking your chain here. I'm yanking your chain. But yeah,
yes.
but this is their first like original fiction story that they themselves made. And I gotta say it pulled it off. Like I mean it's super I'm not saying it's easy, but it's easier to make a movie that's based on actual events because the story and the plot is already there for you. But doing something like The Shift, where you're taking the concepts of a story and then rewriting it to make your own fictional thing, is completely different from that. And gotta say that they did a very good job. I don't want to get into spoilers, but I will say that the ending of this, based on the ending of Book of Job, the ending of this movie is a very good parallel. There was a detail in the ending that I really appreciated, given the ending of Job. So I thought that
Mhm.
was done very well. So I gotta commend them for that.
Yes, the way that they handled everything. And another thing that I wanted to bring up about the movie, it's really only the last thing I have to say about it,
Okay.
is that if a lot of faith-based things these days are like, you know, especially with starting with the story of Job.
Right.
Uh Job is described as a righteous man,
Mm-hmm.
and he always has been a righteous man. And that's where the deal with the devil kind of takes place in that story.
Mm-hmm.
But in this movie, he doesn't start the movie as a righteous man. It's a very subtle thing that they do, but it is
Mm-hmm.
incredibly smart to do because it it showcases the fact that it makes it easier for a Christian of nowadays, or even just a normal person, to relate
Mm-hmm.
to this character.
Right.
Because I
Yeah.
feel like there are a lot of people who aren't religious already. They find it hard to relate to these characters in these movies that are, they are religious. They're staying religious through the whole movie, things like that. Whereas in this one, he's literally at the lowest point of his life.
Right. And then
And
he gets everything that he needed. He got a wife. He got a kid. Got a happy family. He got a house. He's uh
yeah,
reconnected with his faith, and everything is just he was out of the gutter and given everything he wanted, and then he gets stripped away by the benefactor all at once. And
yeah. Like it followed the story of Job very, very well.
it did. I actually don't have too many negative things or any at all to say about it.
I have
It's more
zero
of just
negative
like,
things.
yeah, it's more just a thing like I wish they could have done better. Like, I wish they had a bigger budget so they could have done more elaborate or more, I don't wanna say flashy, but more, like, visually exciting or deeper things, you know? Um, again, to say that I don't have any complaints about the movie doesn't mean it's a perfect 10. Um, so as we head over to the rankings, um, not that I can pick out any negative things about it, but it just didn't feel like it peaked, you know?
So
Um, so yeah, if we're
one
heading over to
last
the
thing,
ranking, yeah, oh yeah, okay, before we head over to the
because
rankings, sorry.
I just looked this up because I was curious.
Yeah.
What do you think the budget of the movie was?
Um, Probably on the smaller end, so I'll say like 10 mil.
6.4 million.
Hey, not bad. Not
And
bad.
the box office so far is 5.5.
That again, not bad. That only came out like this week.
Yeah, and
As as of recording, it only came out a week ago.
and on the pay it forward for the shift, the
Yep.
goal is 500,000 tickets.
Mm-hmm.
It is already at 449,000.
Whoa. Well, there you go.
That is an insane amount of money for that.
That, that's true.
Man, why didn't we
That
get
is
our
crazy.
tickets for free?
Because we support the film industry, Isaac.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Anyway, moving on to rankings.
We support the movie theater industry, Isaac.
Yeah, moving on to rankings. I would like to hear yours first.
Okay, so as I said, like just because I can't pick out anything, negative about it doesn't mean it's going to be a perfect 10. Um, but I'm going to place this solidly at an 8. It is a very, very good movie. I I say that a lot. I need to get myself a thesaurus here and find some better words to describe things. Uh, but no, I felt that the acting was a very strong part in this film. If you're going for big, flashy sci-fi stuff, that's not really what it's about. Um, like you said, it's definitely made for like because like a different audience. Because
Yes.
you and I have both picked up on this. Every time we go to see a more faith-based film, the theater is like 90% old people.
Yes.
But this is definitely something that could bring in the younger faith-based viewers, and
Yes.
keep their attention. Not sure that the older usual suspects of faith-based movies would really get this, but I feel like that they could still appreciate it. So
Yes.
yeah, there you go.
I am I'm going to give this movie a 9.
All right.
This 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 movie was very very well done. It's not a high 9, but I feel like this movie deserves a 9. This movie was really really well done, and like I remember just the emotions you feel while watching this movie, and like knowing like how closely it followed the original source material while also being drastically different,
Hmm.
but
And it's all
also still
insane,
being the same.
right?
Like like it's really nice to see how they can take this story, make how they can take an old story that is also religious, make it modern without it feeling overly religious to the point of like
Like too preachy.
yeah, like preachy, but also at the same time, it is not overly modern either. Like it's in that middle ground that was
Right.
perfect, and they nailed, like you said, they did exactly what they went out to do, and what they went out to do was very well done.
Mhm. Right. All right. So with that out the way, moving on to our Christmas action movie, which is becoming a trend because we went to see Violent Night at the end of the year last year, and
Hmm.
now we're moving on to Silent Night. Right out the bat, right
Sorry,
out the bat.
I was about to say, and it might continue next year because I think Terrifier 3 comes out towards the end of the year next year too.
Oh, true, true. Uh, right out the bat, I want to say I would definitely put Silent Night over Violent Night.
Yes.
It's way better. Um, so the premise of Silent Night is that it's um this guy whose son gets killed in the crossfire of like a shootout between two gangs. And then he literally trains himself all year in combat, martial arts, guns, weapons, self defense kind of things. And then the next year, Christmas, he just goes on like a vengeance spree, killing off all the people responsible and pretty much pretty much just decimating both gangs that were involved in the first place. Um, And the interesting aspect, well, there's two interesting aspects of this. The first one is that there's not a single line of character dialogue in the entire movie, which is exactly what I was hoping for. Not to say that there's no words because there's uh, like radio broadcasts and like police radio chatter that give you like context and like dates and like timeline settings. But like between the characters, there's like no talking. I think there was like one gang member who said motherfucker, and then there was like one time when the wife was consoling the husband, she said it's okay under her breath. But other than that, there's like any dialogue was either like muffled from the other room or like just in text messages. So like there's no like spoken script at all, and I
There,
love
there
that.
were a
I would
few there were a few moments like in shootout scenes,
well,
like
yeah, but that's just like clamoring. They weren't like saying anything of value.
yeah,
They were just like, "Hey, motherfucker," blah 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 blah, and then like it was like combined with the background and the gunfire, so you couldn't even make it out anyways. But that
yeah.
doesn't really count. I'm talking like on the script, like they wrote down what you're supposed to say,
And it
and
was
then the
just
characters
blank.
communicate with each other. Yeah, no, there was like no script for this. Any words were like clamoring or background noise, not relevant or anything. Um, and even if they were muffled to the point where it didn't wasn't able to be deciphered anyways. Um, and I couldn't help making connections with another movie I saw earlier this year called No One Will Save You, which is an alien home invasion movie that came out on Hulu. That also, there's only like a single sentence. There's only one line of dialogue in the whole movie. Otherwise, it's no one says anything, and I thought that was very well done as well. So go check that out if you have a chance. But this one, the other thing that made it interesting is because it's very much a John Wick formula, as I've come to know it, where it's one guy who's like a retired badass, and he's just trying to live his normal life until like low tier gang members or whatever come disrupt it or do something bad in front of him. So he steps up and beats him up or kills him or whatever, and then that pisses off like the big head mafia, and they send the whole mafia after him. So he says, "Fuck it, we're back," and then he just kills off an entire uh, mob branch or gang branch or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, and that applies to John Wick, Equalizer, Clean, Nobody, even Drive 2011 to some extent. But the difference in this one is that he is like a nobody at the beginning. He's a total regular guy, and then he spends the whole year training himself from the ground up.
Yeah,
Like, there's
that
points
was
where he's
really
like,
cool.
right. So he's not like, oh, you pissed off the wrong guy. It's like you pissed off a guy, and now he built himself into the wrong guy. Um,
Yeah.
there's a couple more aspects leaning into that I'd like to go into, but I want to give you a
Hmm.
chance to give your overall thoughts on the movie because I've been
I
talking for
mean,
quite a bit, so I'll pass it off to
yeah.
you before we bounce back.
Uh, the there's not. I don't really have an insane amount to say about this movie because I mean it was very entertaining. John Woo definitely did what John Woo does. Uh,
He did the
I mean
John
the
Woo
fact,
thing.
yeah, he did, they pointed at John Woo and said do the thing, and he did the thing.
True.
And uh, but I mean there was a lot of like the acting in this movie was definitely really good.
I mean, it had to
Like
be. The dialogue delivery
yeah,
was non-existent.
exactly. Like it was very and the narration for the movie as well, like the narrative
Zero narration.
in the sense of
The,
the way that
the story, you mean? The
the
exposition. Yeah,
exposition, yeah, the way
yeah.
the exposition was delivered was also very cleverly done because again they had to do it with no dialogue, but like and the other thing that you said that I don't know if you I can't actually remember if you said that already or not was like the fact that at no point during the movie did it feel like the fact that they weren't talking like if I hadn't been going into this movie like if you hadn't said at the start of the movie because you leaned over and you were like I really hope that this is a silent movie like they
Well,
don't have
right,
any dialogue or nothing.
because it's called Silent Night, and then there wasn't any dialogue in the trailer, so I thought, hey, maybe that could be what they're going for, and it turned out it was. So if I hadn't brought that up, you wouldn't have. You said you would not have noticed until like 3/4 into the movie.
No, I wouldn't have because they just did it so seamlessly because like the scenes where the characters shouldn't where you feel like the character should be talking, they wouldn't be because they can't. Like the majority of the scenes that you would be like, "Where wow, this is kind of weird that they're not talking," is like the reason why the husband and wife aren't talking is because they can't. They can't physically communicate. They
Oh,
communicate through text message.
I don't think we brought that up. I brought that up in the explanation. The reason he can't talk is because he got shot in the throat by like the gang leader. So it damaged his vocal cords. So he all he can do is like kind of strained scream,
He can kind of just make well, yeah. By the end of it, he can make
like
like
grunts
grunting
and
noises, and that's about it.
right. Um, so that's why it's called Silent Night is because he got shot in the throat and he can't talk. Um, but yeah, like there wasn't like any instance of them not talking had an explanation behind it, and
Yeah,
like
like
character introduction was not annoying because they kept the characters rather small and they gave
mhm.
you they gave you a decent, I'm not going to say like ample because it's very easy to miss the names of the characters in this movie, but like they gave you
Mhm.
opportunities to subconsciously um get the people's names because it's either on like the gang members mugshot, or the wife says the husband's name in a text. The kid who died, his name's on the gravestone they visit. The detective that they work with, he leaves his business card with him in the hospital while they're both like he's recovering and she's asleep. So like you're never like, why aren't they talking? Because every single instance of that, they have a reason to not be talking. So
Yeah, like
it doesn't feel forced at all
it's
to
interesting because
omit dialogue from this movie. It feels
yeah, it
very
was
natural.
interesting because you pointed out the thing of like I hope there's no dialogue in this movie. Like I was hyper aware of it through the whole movie.
Right.
Like I was paying attention to every bit, like looking for
Now
a
I've
thing
kind of
because I
feel
wanted to be.
now I kind of feel bad about that because it would be cool to get in a like a look at from the movie from a viewpoint of didn't even notice that there wasn't any dialogue in it.
Like I would have noticed eventually,
Right.
but like it would have been it would have been much later in the movie. Like
Right.
I wouldn't have noticed it from the start.
Right.
And it was still just well done. So do you want to move on to do you have any other points you want to bring up?
Yeah, so getting more into specific scenes here, the first one that comes to mind is when he kidnaps the guy who does like all the money counting for one of the gangs.
Yeah.
And he sits him down, he ties him up, and he forces him to like he puts like a paper with like a it's like a questionnaire where he has to like confess all like the details of the whole gang because he's gonna give that to the detective or whatever. Um, and he's been like training on practice dummies on how to like do self defense and fighting and weapons and stuff. And he's like confident going into this, but then the guy like breaks out of his binds and they start fighting. And the main guy, he gets his ass kicked fairly decent in that, and he gets that like
Mhm.
you recognize that wake up like, oh, training dummies, like you get the Bruce Lee moment with boards don't hit back, when training dummies and actual people who are going to fight back are completely different stories. Um, because he's floundering. Like it's a miracle that he eventually beat the guy and got him
Mhm.
unconscious in the first place. Um, then you see the first time when the gang member on the hood of his car, sticks his gun out the window and shoots him, and then he's just sitting there in shock as like the blood rolls down the windshield. And he realizes that like that's the first time he's ever killed a guy. I mean, yeah, in the beginning, like a guy gets killed, but that was more like circumstance. Like he tricked the guy into like driving straight into a forklift and that. But this is the first time like he actually gun in hand killed a man, took his life personally himself, and he's kind of just like reeling with that, and he even like throws up immediately, even though it was a
Yeah.
gang member, and that's what he set out to do. Like that, he still took a life, and that has a toll. And then that kind of thing happens again, where he's trying to save the police officer, and she gets shot in the back and dies in front of him, because that's like the first innocent life that got taken in front of him because of this. And he kind of reels with that for a moment, and back to the like, this is not a former badass ex-military, ex-assassin, whatever, who's
Yeah.
back in the business that they messed with. This is a guy who's building himself up into the badass to take vengeance back. He's new to this, and it's apparent, and I think they portrayed that very well. The portrayal of emotion without using dialogue was handled extremely well in this movie, and I feel that's definitely
Yeah.
one of its strong points. That now you talk.
Yeah, sorry. No, I apologize. No, it very much was
Stop
one of the
playing
strong points of
Inscription
the
while
movie.
we're doing the podcast.
I'm not playing Inscription while we're doing the podcast.
All right,
But
go.
anyway, no, I don't really have much else to say about the movie, really. It it was an alright movie. I was thoroughly entertained.
Mhm.
And again, it was as you said, it was a breath of fresh air on that whole, guy takes down an entire organization by himself thing.
Oh,
Like, it was
um, yeah. Only negative thing I can say about this, and it's a pretty big one, is that the CGI was very noticeably CGI.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it
yeah.
it
Oh
did
yeah.
not it did not blend in with the rest of the movie at all.
No,
But
it did not.
but I can almost forgive it because they didn't use it very often. There was only like 3 or 4 times when I was like, "Oh, that looks bad. That looks bad. That's
Yeah.
like Disney level CGI right now. That's like Marvel movie
Yeah.
CGI, bro."
It
But like,
wasn't
it wasn't.
entirely horrible, and
It
like the
wasn't
moments that it
horrible.
used it,
It looked
like the moments that
cool.
yeah, the moment
It
it
was
at least
just
looked cool. It
It
just
was
didn't look
just
good.
it was just jarringly obviously CGI.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, other than that, I thought it was a very um, what's the word? Innovative movie. Like they took on multiple challenges here, and I think
Yes.
they um look, I am just at loss for words right now. I think they accomplished, excelled even in the challenges that they set up for themselves. I thought this was done very well. And as far as Christmas themed action movies, I don't think anything will ever top Die Hard. It's just
No.
that is the Christmas action movie. But this
Yes.
definitely triumphs over things like Violent Night and other other instances of the such. So heading over to the rankings, unless you had anything else you wanted to say.
Um. No, I think I'm good to go to the rankings.
Okay. Going over to the rankings, I'm going to give this a very high 7. Um, very, very interesting movie. Um, with all the roadblocks that they set up for themselves, with cutting out the dialogue and taking a without having the fallback of, oh, he was an assassin or he was in the military, so he already knows how to do all this stuff. I think they showed all of that very well, and I mean, my eyes were glued to the screen. I didn't want to miss any of it because it was all visual to begin with. So I thought it achieved a lot of what it was trying to achieve, and it was very good.
Yeah. Uh. I am giving this movie a 7 as well. Uh. I again enjoyed the movie. It was good. It's kind of a low 7 for me,
Right, that's what I
but
thought. But
yeah.
I
But
yeah, as a movie nerd, I felt like a lot of the cinematography and like how hard it was going to be to do this in the first place. I
and the
thought
fact
they
that they
played it
went
off
through
really
with it.
well. Right. I thought it was very
Yeah,
well.
no.
But I can understand the low 7 there as well.
Yeah. I it was just kind of like because while the cinematography was cool and like the fact of that of like the zero dialogue thing was cool, like apart from that, the movie didn't have a whole lot new, if that makes sense.
I This is gonna be the first time where I would completely disagree with you. Like, there is
Like what?
so much new with this movie.
Well, okay, I guess new is the wrong word. Uh, I can't think of what I'm trying to say. Like, it was an action movie. Like we've seen a lot, like a lot of what we saw in the movie, we've seen in other movies of that type of like with when it
Oh
comes to John Wick and things like
my
that.
god. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever instance of Isaac is wrong. Well, no, I shouldn't say first ever instance, but first recorded instance of Isaac being wrong in front of all our viewers.
Well, okay, what do you mean?
Okay, so this movie was like so much different from all the John Wick stuff. All right, going from like action scenes, I guess I can see where you're coming from because like,
That's where I'm talking in the
car
action.
crash, people shooting people, guns going off, right? But the storytelling is unlike anything in the John Wicks or the Equalizers or whatever. Because with those, the story is always the same. Like I said at the
Yeah,
beginning, it's they they intervene in a small gang doing stuff, and then that pisses off the bigger part of the gang, and then the bigger part of the gang comes in, and then the guy just takes out the whole bigger part of the gang. Again, that's John Wick, that's Equalizer, that's Clean, that's Nobody, that's Drive 2011 to some extent.
yeah,
Um, but this is completely different because it's not even, they weren't even trying. There was two cars that were shooting at each other, and the guy's son caught one of the bullets and died. And he just immediately, like it starts off with minutes after that happened, and he's chasing down the street after this car, and he just bashes it and kills one of the guys with a forklift. Um, and then he gets shot in the throat, ends up in a hospital. So he is as weak and untrained on how to do this as possible, and then he's building himself up brick by brick into this badass, and he's stumbling along the way. He fails at several instances during this, but then he gets to where he needs to be at the end, and he just takes out everything for his wife and for the memory of his son. And you're not gonna get anything um, out of those other movies because John Wick, as big and as good as that franchise is, it's all about the higher like politics of like the assassin ring. It's not down into the personal vengeance vendetta level. Um, I mean, after the first one,
yeah,
it is, but after the first one, it's all about the high politics of the assassin table. It is,
yeah.
but
I said that the story, like besides like storytelling and cinematography, that's what I mean. Like it was the cool part about this movie, the reason why it got a 7 was because of that. Like if it
right.
wasn't for all that, this movie for me would be a 6, honestly, because it would just be kind of an action movie.
Fair.
But
But
because
but
of
to
the story, because of the fact that it is a guy who trained himself to get to the point of all these other guys that we're seeing in this franchise, that was cool to see that.
but to be
Like
fair,
I really like that.
that part is most of the movie.
Fair
Like
enough. Fair
you
enough.
have like 5 to 6 minute action scenes like spliced in between there, and then the big one at the end. But most of it is like his struggle and him building himself up and all the emotional like weight of everything. Like that's the majority of the movie.
Yeah. I get
I'm surprised it took us this long to actually argue over a movie.
What I love the fact is that we're arguing over a movie that we both gave the same fucking score to. Like,
Hey, I gave it a high
we gave
7,
this
bro.
movie.
We're
Like we're
arguing
agreeing to disagree.
on screen right now because we're just recording in Discord right now. But like for the viewers on screen, there's just two golden sevens floating above each of our heads, and we're arguing over our ratings of it.
Yeah, like what the hell?
Damn. All right.
But anyway, we've argued enough on this one. I think we should
Right.
move on to the
We're
one that we're
we're,
not
we're
going to argue
encroaching.
about at
We're
all.
en- we're encroaching on an hour already, and we're only halfway done here.
Yeah, well,
We
yeah.
haven't
Let's
even
move on to the
started on
next
the
one.
movies we really want to talk about.
Yeah. Moving forward to Godzilla Minus One.
Thank God.
Oh,
Straight out the
uh,
gate, anyone who's ever seen a Godzilla movie, it's probably going to be one of the original black and white dudes in suits just fighting each other Godzilla movies, or more likely the more recent ones in the as it's coming out, the Godzilla versus Kong franchise that
mhm,
is that storyline.
mhm.
Those are the 2001 Godzilla, which wasn't that great to begin with. Um, that's
Yeah.
going to be the kind of thing that you've seen already, and that's I've not seen every single Godzilla movie ever made because there are fucking infinity of them. But without a doubt, in my mind, out of all of them that I've seen, Godzilla Minus One is the best Godzilla movie ever. All right,
Yes.
and I can probably proclaim that over the ones I haven't seen as well because this one is completely outstanding.
Yes. It This movie was just like I felt legitimate actual fear watching a Godzilla movie for the first time ever.
And you've never, I've never gotten just straight up like fear and adrenaline on that level. Because I've seen
Yeah.
Godzilla movies. I watched Godzilla versus Kong and a couple of the other ones prior to that, like Godzilla King of the Monsters. I've seen those in theaters in super screen, and
Yeah.
Godzilla doing the roar, like the big noises, like those are cool, but those are nothing compared to Godzilla Minus One. Um,
Like I remember watching the 2014 Godzilla, the one with
yeah,
freaking Muto, I think the name is of the villain in that movie,
okay,
or whatever it is. Whatever it
yeah,
is.
go
The
on,
first one in the recent franchise. I
yeah,
remember being excited and being like, "Okay, this is awesome." It's nice cuz like for a lot of movies leading up to that since the original, it's like he looks more like a dinosaur or
right.
things like that, you know? But like
Yeah, I know
this,
exactly what
he's
you're talking about.
actually a giant fucking lizard who
The,
like is just like it was really good. Like I really liked it. Like the sound mixing, the visuals of that one were amazing. This one makes that one look like the original. Like holy fuck.
right.
Like I'm not kidding.
It is insane to me how they translated the original design for Godzilla, like way back in the day when it was just a bunch in the 50s when it was just a bunch of dudes in suits punching the
Back when it
shit
was
out of
still
each
just
other.
called Gojira.
Yeah, Gojira. And now like it's the same character design but incredibly more detailed. Like it's standing on 2 feet and it is just like stomping through Japan, and it is just decimating everything. It looks so good. To give a basic premise of what this is, and to explain the title to some, because I didn't really get the title until I looked into it and really analyzed it. So it takes place in Japan, like right after World War II ended, and the bombs dropped. Right, so
Mhm.
Japan is decimated. So the quote that they give is after the bombs dropped or after the war, Japan was reduced to zero. And then after that, Godzilla attacked, and that brought it down lower than zero. So Godzilla minus one. So Japan is like in the negative, so to speak. So that's the
Yeah.
thought process behind the title. Um, but it's really interesting. Um, I am so glad that they finally brought Godzilla back to the Japanese production because
Yes.
I mean, as cool as the American ones are, like there's a glaring problem with big monster movies that everyone who's seen big monster movies knows about. Is that they don't focus on the big monsters fighting, and they are way too more focused on all the human drama, and to the point where to hype people up for big kaiju movies, uh, the directors and the writers they say that they're going to have less human drama and more monsters just fighting, and that hypes
Yeah.
people up. This movie sets itself apart because every time Godzilla is on screen, he is absolutely captivating. You are
Yes.
at least slightly terrified every time he's on screen. And and it's not just the same, first of all, because like the first time he shows up, he's like this regular like dinosaur thing, right?
Yeah.
He's like hunched over more like a T-Rex rather than standing
It's
fully
before
upright.
he gets all like the
Yeah,
radioactivity side of
it's
that everyone knows Godzilla for.
right. It's before he gets radioactive. So he's literally just like this small island um like cryptid that he like it's just
Yeah.
this dinosaur that came up from the deep and attacked. Um and
Yeah.
that is scary because he's much more mobile and he's much more like agile and he's attacking everyone and he's more like articulated, right?
Yeah.
And that is terrifying. And then the bomb drops, and then the next time you see him, he's literally doing a Jaws, like they're in a boat, and you see like his mass of spikes like coming towards you like the dorsal fin of a shark, and then you see his head come out of the water, and it's so good. And then next time you see him, he's like on land destroying buildings. And then the next time you see him, he's coming across Japan and they're coming in with the fighter pilots and like leading him out back into the water to do the big finale, right? But it's not like every time you see him he's in the city destroying stuff. Like every instance of Godzilla appearing in this movie is like separate from all the other instances. Like it doesn't all look exactly the same every time you see him.
No, it does not. But it's one thing that I really liked about it was the fact that obviously he is CGI'd.
Right.
Obviously. He
No,
doesn't
they brought in
look.
actual Godzilla for this, I think.
Yeah, I know, it was amazing. They killed like a bunch
He
of
played
people for
himself.
this movie.
Right, they did.
But no, the fact that he doesn't look it for a lot of it is impressive.
Right. I'm
Like there
wondering
is a
how much
lot.
of this, if they had like a big practical model, at
Right.
least at one point, or a base, just and then they
Like
CGI
there
over it.
there any time, because one thing that was really cool is that he really does look like the original design. Like he's
Right?
got those ridges on his head that
Hmm.
the original Godzilla design had.
He had them thick thighs too.
Yeah, like dude was caked up. But like
Don't say that about Godzilla, bro.
but but what I'm saying is like there are scenes like when he's out of the water,
Hmm.
like towards the end of the movie, there's that scene where he's like walking through like the Japanese countryside and
Right.
he's like moving kind of slowly because like that's how he is now. 'Cause he's
Mhm.
just kind of upright.
Well, right,
But
because he's
like
upright and
it
he's much
literally,
bigger.
yeah, it looked like they just took an actual model and just put it there for some of
Mhm.
those. Or like the other one that I really liked and I really want to bring up is like you're talking about like that scene where you see him and then his head raises up out of the water.
Uh-huh.
Like like and they're like he's like chasing the boat. Like his head looks really real.
It does.
Like
It
the eyes,
does.
the thing that terrified me the most were his eyes through the whole movie.
Yes, they did an exceptional job on the eyes. The eyes looked fucking menacing.
Like they were terrifying and they didn't look bad either. Like it's cuz like the thing I like is that there wasn't an insane amount of them trying to make his eyes like move around because a
Right.
creature that big has such a wide range of vision.
Right.
Like he doesn't need to be like his eyes don't need to be darting around and stuff like that. So like it was just him just laser focused on what's in front of him. And
And
that's
yeah, it was terrifying.
horrifying.
Right. Um, so the other aspect of this movie is, of course, the human characters and the human drama. And
Yes.
what sets it apart, this one, from all the other times that that happens, is that you actually care about the human drama. Like, it's actually interesting. And the characters, you actually like them. Um, so the human aspect, the human side of this story is a guy who was supposed to be a kamikaze pilot in the war, and he lied about his aircraft being damaged so that he can take it to a repair stop on an island, which is the island where Godzilla attacks.
Mhm.
Um,
Odo Island.
yeah, Odo Island. Um, so then when he and then the war ended like right after that. So he comes back home and he's Japanese culture, like he was meant to die to kill himself in the plane and he didn't. So he's looked on very cowardly, and on top of that, he was also commanded to shoot the Godzilla when it appeared on the island with the guns on his plane. But he, cowered out of that as well, and he didn't shoot it. And then everyone but one other guy got killed by Godzilla, and he's got that on his conscience as well. So he returns home, and he's got all these things he's dealing with. People are, disappointed and disgraced by him because he's a coward, and then he's a coward in his own mind. Um, and then his house and family are all destroyed and dead, and
Yeah.
and then on top of that, he runs into this lady with a baby, and she kind of just like attaches herself to him, and he lets them stay with him, and then just
Hmm.
overnight, they're just eventually they just kind of stay there, and
Free
bro
wife
literally, bro literally gets a free wife
and kid.
and kid. He gets a free family, bro, and he wants nothing to do with it.
It's more like
Bro
he's
fumbled the free
afraid to
wife.
let himself have anything to do with it.
Right, because his reasoning for not accepting into the life that was fucking handed to him free of charge, was that he's still guilty about not shooting Godzilla on the island and saving everyone,
Yeah.
and then also not,
Not doing his
fulfilling his
duty.
kamikaze duty, which I understand is dumb in the long run because, I mean, they're shaming him for not killing himself.
Yeah, like dude literally he literally bailed on being a kamikaze pilot on the last day of the war.
right?
Like one of the last days of the
Well,
war. Like, dude.
that was the interesting part about it, because like you think he's completely justified throughout the movie, because like the first half of it, before he tells you that he lies, all that you know is that he stops by a island to get his plane repaired, and then Godzilla attacks, and then by the time after the attack, the war's over and he's getting sent back home. So like he didn't have an opportunity to do kamikaze in the first place, so why are you shaming him for not doing that? But then it
Yeah.
turns out he lied, so then it's like, oh yeah, then kind of justified there. But it plays into the fact that like in Japanese culture, like especially like at that time, like that was the honorable thing to do, was to die in the war.
Yeah.
Like there was even another character who was, upset that he didn't get to fight in the war. And he doesn't see himself as lucky for avoiding it. Um, and that's one more thing that I have to commend them on, is that they really didn't at all paint like America as the bad guys at all or
Yeah,
anything. They
no.
just said
I noticed that.
there wasn't any like America hatred in it at all. It was literally just like they were like there was a war and people died. Okay, like we lost the
But
war,
we
we were the die.
survived.
Because let's not forget, Japan was the bad guys in World War II. They aligned with the Nazis, the Hitler and Germans, and
Yeah.
they were the Axis. They were the bad guys. Don't forget
Yeah.
that. And they don't. It's like they're like completely separated, because like these are like the citizens. These are not like the generals who were making the ally ships and or anything. Like these were just the people. Okay, like they were not
The,
personally dedicated to the conflict at all. Like these were just innocent citizens,
yeah.
right? So
They were just people.
they didn't paint like the Japanese army as the good guys and America as the bad guys or anything of that sort. They were just like there was a war, people died, there was
They were
bad,
survivors.
and we're
They
still
survived the
recovering.
war.
Yeah, they were just saying we're recovering from what happened, and they just stated what happened as a fact, not that there wasn't any like hatred toward any side or anything.
Oh yeah.
And
Don't know if we've stated it yet as well. The entire movie is in Japanese.
well, yeah, well, I mean,
Like
you
it's
said that it was
subtitled.
Japanese production and whatever, but it is subtitled. So far, I haven't seen any dubbed showings of it, and
And
I'm
I
kind
hope
of
they
glad for
don't.
it. I hope they don't, because like the emotions and like voices are so much better as is. So if
Yes,
that's the reason, you're not going to see this, grow up, learn to read.
yeah, like
'Cause it's worth
it's
it.
not that hard. It's so worth it. Like even if you don't want, besides, even if you're going to go see a Godzilla movie because you don't like the human drama, even better. You don't have to fucking pay attention to it.
You don't have to pay attention to the human drama.
Just guess what they're saying. You don't read. Just guess what they're saying. You'll probably get close.
We can
But no,
pretend they're
this
talking
was
about
my
donuts and
my
popcorn all day
the
long, and
other
then
thing.
Godzilla attacks what you paid for.
So the big thing, the one
Yes, go on.
thing that always comes with every new iteration of Godzilla, the thing that everyone looks forward to, is the new iteration of his atomic breath. And I have to say,
Oh.
holy fucking shit. This is this is hands down the best iteration. Like even the Shin Godzilla is like
Yep.
put to shame by this. Like yeah, that one's more horrific, I guess, but this was just like cuz the way cuz like
Go on,
as
go
it
into it.
charges as it charges up from his tail, like it starts at the tip of his tail and it goes up his spine, and as it goes, like spikes are like protruding out, like they stick out one by one as it goes up, like it's again like it's charging up, and like it gets to a point,
Glowing
and
blue.
then when it yeah, glowing blue, and when they when he releases, all the spikes just whoosh, just like sink back into his skin, like a hammer falling down on a gun, and then just like it just straight line of just death and laser. He's a fire in his laser, and it
Shut
was
up.
so good. It was so good.
It was
Like,
very good.
and then it hit, and it's literally where it hit was just dude dropped an atomic bomb.
Well, that's kind of the point. But
Well, I get it, but like this is the
again,
best.
right, and
Like this is the best way they've done it in a
it
movie.
does the best explosion thing where
Yes.
they take the light and sound speed difference very seriously, where the thing
Yes.
off in the distant fucking explodes silently, and then you get like a few seconds of nothing before just and like the sound wave hits you, and then the shock wave, the force of everything just pushing back and decimating in the way. I absolutely agree. This was the best iteration of the atomic breath. Even if you don't like Godzilla movies or have never seen any of them, please. I kind of almost don't want to say start with this because you're starting at the top, and then all the other ones are gonna be not as good. But
Yes.
hopefully, this movie will bring in more movies like it. Like, I'm not saying I want to see a sequel to this because just on its
Yeah.
own, it's just a good, perfect, self-contained thing. But I would like to see the same studio do more movies. Like, if this studio
Yes.
can start its own like kaiju universe again and just keep doing more like that, that would be perfect. That would be amazing. Like, it's literally like refreshing the old school black and white ones where it's just two dudes in suits fighting. It's bringing those
Yeah.
back into the current age, um, with all these amazing cinematography and special effects and just gripping characters and acting.
It was oh, it was it was so nice to see Godzilla be the bad guy again.
Correct, correct. The new series, they are he's like an anti-hero isk kind of.
Like
I mean,
he's helping. That's what he's doing. He's helping the world. Like he's
right, because
protecting
he's
them
just
from the
well,
other
he's
titans.
right. Well, I mean, they did kind of just use him and like his they kind of like coerced him to fight the other ones for like dominance
Yeah.
rather than like I will save you world. It's more just like, hey, I'm the big boss around here. It's not
Yeah.
just like we're saved. I wouldn't say saved, more like under new
Under new
management.
management. Yeah.
Right.
Except
And then they
Godzilla just
brought
kind of fucks off
right.
at the end of it.
Right. But it's more along that lines. But it's good to see him as just the total destruction metaphor that he is,
Yeah.
and everyone uniting to destroy this thing. It was very, very, very worth it. Go see this movie.
Yeah.
If you have any interest in this movie whatsoever, go and see it now while it's still in theaters and go see it on the biggest screen you can because it is well worth it.
Yes. Yes, it is. It is
I
so good.
I
We
myself
also got
I
lucky.
might I myself I am going to go see it again this weekend on the super screen just because it is that good.
Yeah, I am also happy that we kind of lucked into this because when we got there to order our to buy our tickets and stuff, it was a pretty decently packed theater. So
Mhm.
like we were forced to pick one of the more upfront seats. Oh my
Right.
God, was that such a good choice in the
Well,
end? Like,
closer
cause
to the screen than normal for us because we usually pick like dead center.
yeah,
But
like we were
those were all
closer to
filled
the
up.
front.
We were like 4 rows away from the front. We weren't right in there.
Yeah, but it was still like it was it made it that much more terrifying because there's literally there's the scene in the movie in the first part where he's literally like attacking these dudes and then he looks directly down at one of the guys.
Hmm.
Like it's just this POV of you just down below him and he's looking straight down and holy fuck was that terrifying. Like, that
Yes,
was
this
horrifying.
it was incredibly effective. Every single time Godzilla's on screen, every frame is perfection.
It's so good. Uh, do we want to move to the rankings now?
Oh, yes, please.
I I've deliberated on it. I'm giving this movie a 10.
Oh, hands down, 10 as well. It is
Like it
there is one more movie that has beat this out, but otherwise this movie is a perfect 10.
is so so good.
I
So
can't
good.
think I can't think of anything bad about it or and to add on, I can't think of anything that would make this movie better.
No, I
There's
cannot there's not a
nothing.
single thing.
There is not a single thing that would make this movie better. It is perfect exactly as it is. It is
It was
phenomenal. I have never been
it really
so
was.
satisfied by a movie since, um well, I don't wanna say the last time it was because that'll be a conversation for later. Um, but
Yeah.
but Godzilla Minus One, as we've said in, earlier episodes, at the end of the year, we are going to do our top 10 movies in theaters and bottom 10 movies in theaters we've seen this year. Godzilla Minus One, without a doubt, is going to make that list.
Oh, same here. Yeah, it 100% is.
The top 10, by the way.
I
The top 10. The top 10.
the
The
top
top
10,
10.
the top 10, the
Top
top 10, the top
5.
10. It was a misinput.
If
Misinput.
I'm being honest, top 3. Top
Yeah,
3.
like it's so good. It's so good. I haven't given actually, now that I think about it, I've given more movies a 10 this year than I thought I did.
I've only
I've
given
given it
2.
I've given like four
I've
movies a 10 this year.
I have only given 2 movies a 10 this year. And I am so glad Godzilla Minus One is one of them. This is a fucking 10. I cannot hype this movie up enough, and I'm going to be buying it. And I never do this. I always go for the cheaper option when I buy it on DVD or Blu-ray or something. But I am buying this in the 4K digital everything bundle for
Yeah,
like $30 when it comes out when it hits Walmart shelves, dude. I am
because it's
buying
gonna
this
be
in the
worth it.
highest definition and the best quality possible. It is absolutely worth it. Do
It is
not
100%
miss
worth
out
it.
on this movie.
Yeah, do not sleep on this at all.
And while it's not the first 10 this year, it's the first 10 on the channel.
Yes, it is.
And I can't think of a better one.
No, I cannot. Uh, so now that we have said our piece on it, go see it. Let's move on to our last movie.
Our final movie,
Oh
Dream
God,
Scenario,
God,
starring
this
Nicolas
movie.
Cage. So
I
the
was kind of
Isaac,
distraught
I'll
after seeing
I'll
this movie.
Nicolas Cage movies are our specialty. We're always happy to see our main man up on the big screen,
Yes.
and this movie was something else. The
It. Oh my
concept
god.
of dream scenario is that if you'll remember the meme from the early 2010s, this man, I'll throw a picture up on screen to jog people's memory. It's basically that. Nicolas Cage is a college professor, and all of a sudden, all over the world, like thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people are seeing Nicolas Cage's character in their dreams. And it starts out he's just standing there, not doing anything. It's like they're like nightmares and like they're being chased by something or something bad is happening and he's just standing there. He's not helping, he's not doing anything, he's just chilling. Doing his own thing. And he has no idea why. He has no control over it. He's got no influence over it. He has no idea why him. But everyone just keeps seeing him in his dreams. And then later on, as the movie progressed, he starts doing more nefarious things. Like people start dreaming of him killing them, abusing them
Assaulting
and
them.
assaulting them. And again, he's got no idea why. Like he's not doing it. Like that's not even the kind of person that he is. I mean,
Yeah.
he's kind of a bit of a cuck in this movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
Bit of
um,
bit of a cuck, yeah.
in the nicest way possible, he's a cuck. But
I mean, he took
he's
his wife's last name.
um, anyways, um, yeah, but he's got no idea why, and then everyone just starts turning on him, hating him for it. They're all scared of him. They're like he was gonna be like there was a group reaching out to him like when he was all popular from everyone seeing him in their dreams, like he was going viral. They wanted to like they wanted to give him a Sprite sponsorship, so hopefully people
Yeah.
would dream about Sprite, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and then once he starts assaulting people in the dreams, it's like everyone's just scared of him. They don't want anything to do with him. They shut
He is
him out of
asked to
his.
leave a fucking restaurant because people recognized him and were uncomfortable because they had a dream that he did something. Like it's literally like the thing where your girlfriend, it's like the joke where like your girlfriend had a dream that you cheated on her, so now she hates you. And it's like,
Right, but it's
what?
that cranked up to everyone in town, everyone, the entire population.
Yeah, it's that, and then they're doing much worse. But like, it's still just like he has literally done nothing wrong. Like, uh, for like coming out the gate just right now, just saying, uh, this movie is 100% an analogy for cancel culture. Like
Right.
100%. That is exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is trying to do. The problem of the movie, and
At,
you
at least
said this
at
at
least
the
as
end.
much as at least as much as I can garner from it, as that's
Yeah,
my best guess is what it's about.
because like the problem is you can't just make the entire movie. You said this last night. You can't just
Yeah,
make
I
the
did.
entire movie an analogy.
Right.
The
That's
entire you
that's
have to have
that's
something with it.
that's the thing that I don't like about the like you can do that. You can make the movie is an analogy for this or it's a metaphor for that. But my problem with those kind of movies is that they always tend to take the analogy more seriously and more reflective of what's going on than actually making a clear and concise narrative. Because I would say a good half of this movie, you have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Yeah,
Like there's a point, getting into spoilers here because like I'm about to get heated here. Um, there's a point in the movie where they don't like him because he's attacking everyone in their dreams, right? And to the point where he's forbidden by the school to see his daughter in the school play. And this lady is like standing at the door, like keeping it closed, not letting him in. And he just pushes hard on the door, or like he's trying to like get in, and then the door like slams on the lady's fingers, and she like breaks one of her finger, or her hand is broken or whatever. And then she starts yelling, "Oh, he attacked me! He attacked me!" And he's like, "No, I didn't. It was an accident. I didn't mean to. I just wanted to come in and see my daughter." And then like that scene like ends very drastically, and it cuts to black, and then it opens up, and it's a bunch of like TikTok people like in like a TikTok house, but like they're doing dreams. Like all of a sudden there's like this wristwatch that lets you enter people's dreams.
Dreamfluencers.
Dreamfluencers, right? And they're all in this house together, and they use the wrist watch technology to enter people's dreams and promote merch and shit. I'm like, what is happening here? What does this
Yeah.
have to do with any? What is this ugly watch? Like, what is going on? You are completely like they sit you back down in your chair, punch you in the face in the theater, and said, "We're talking about this now." Like I am like so completely disoriented, and just no there's no concise way for you in the theater to plug any meaning out of this. It's absolutely
Yeah.
one of those movies where as soon as you're done watching it, you pull out your phone and you're like, all right, what the fuck did this movie even? What was this even about? What is the ending explained?
Yeah.
You know, dream scenario ending explained, not ending explained. Give me entire movie explained because I have no idea what the fuck is going on here, and
Yeah, no, it was
I hate when that happens. I mean,
like the problem that sucked is the movie had such a good premise.
it had
Like it
such a
was
good
such a
premise
cool
that
it was so cool. Like
we were
there
so
would
hyped
be like a
to see this.
I was hoping there would be like a thing where it like explains why he's showing up in these people's dreams or something like that. No, it's literally just hey, you got famous because we started noticing that you were in things, and now you're doing bad things in the things in our own heads. So you're a bad guy now. Like
Well, I think
they literally had like the stupidest fucking scene in the whole movie, in my opinion, is the scene where they have all the kids like kids stop showing up to his classes because they saw him like killing them in his dreams and shit like that, and like they had trauma. You know, they're traumatized by you, and they got all the kids in one room and just had him start walking towards them like slowly, and all he does is say so, and one person leaves, and all of a sudden all of them are out the fucking door.
right,
Like it's
and
like what the fuck? Like he did nothing, and they like spray paint a loser on the side of his car, and they're like filming him and shit like this. Like, oh look at this dumbass, and look at this bad guy, and it's like
yeah,
he
they
did
said
nothing.
bye. They said bye, get out. Like they
Like
were like making fun of him. Like they spray painted
like they
Looters
were
on the
like
car. They
why
were like filming him
just
on TikTok,
quit.
and then they were just making fun of him. They're just like, "Get out
They
of
were like
here. We
why
don't
don't you
like
just
you."
quit?
I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, it's not concise at all.
And like
Then
he filmed an
no one is
apology
taking his
video.
side. No one is taking his side at all.
Not
Like,
a single
there's not a
person, no.
single person who has any rational thing. It's
Not
like,
even his wife.
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I'm like, yeah, like he's killing people in their dreams, but like he didn't do anything. There's no rational person at all saying like he didn't actually do anything at all. Like no one, not a single person is like he literally didn't do anything. No one is taking his side for any reason. The only thing I can commend this movie on is again Nicolas Cage's acting because man gives it his all in
Yeah.
every single role without fail. There's a part where he records like an apology type video and he just lets his emotions fucking go, and like he nailed that I mean, for what he was going for, he nailed it. Like it's really, really upsetting that in a lot of these movies that are just okay movies, the only good
Yeah.
thing you can say about them is that Nicolas Cage's acting was phenomenal.
Yeah. Nicolas Cage is always a phenomenal actor. Like
Right.
he always puts all of himself into each movie that he's in. And it is it's so nice to see him act. And the fact like he loves what he does. You can tell
And
that
I
he
appreciate
does.
that. I appreciate that, but I don't know. This one was not it. It was
Yeah,
too.
no,
It was
this
too.
was
I mean, it
not.
was an A24 movie, so we were kind of expecting to not understand what was happening, but like at
It's at
least
least makes more
some
sense
kind
than
of
Men did.
narrative. Do not talk about the movie Men, my guy, at all, ever. You were banned from that. You know this. You were banned from discussing the movie Men. That shit was ass.
You literally stood up at the end of that movie and just said, "What the fuck?" Oh, but no, this
Yeah.
movie was just extremely disappointing.
It was very disappointing. I'm it I don't have much to say about this movie other than that.
I have nothing
Um
more to say, honestly.
all right. So moving into the rankings then, I am very very distraught in saying that this Nick Cage movie um it wasn't even like enjoyably bad. I mean, it's not bad. It's just very confusing and convoluted, and just it ruins your enjoyment of what was going on because it's such a
Yeah,
good concept. I was so excited to see what they were gonna do, and then they just botched it entirely.
yeah,
So I'm regretfully going to give this a 5. Like it's such a mid nothing movie that has Nicolas Cage in it, and that's the only thing I can commend it for. Like I was very uncomfortable during certain scenes, and it wasn't even like a payoff for that. Like, oh, they
yeah.
wanted you to have that uncomfortable feeling, like that's what they were going for. I mean, it was, but it didn't add to anything. I didn't.
No, it did not.
Yeah, I was uncomfortable and confused the whole time. But I mean,
I,
thank God for Nick Cage.
yeah, honestly, even with Nick Cage in this, I regrettably have to give this movie like a 4.
Fair enough.
Like I like even he's not enough to save this. This movie was just not enjoyable like at all.
And I feel bad because we had the opportunity to go see Krampus alone. We get a private showing of Krampus. And I wanted to see Dream Scenario because it was the new Nick Cage movie by A24, and we didn't even because it got pushed back a bunch, so we didn't even know if it was gonna hit theaters at all, and we weren't knowing how long it was gonna last. And there was no one in the theater all day, so we were gonna have another Nick Cage movie all to ourselves. Then one other
Yeah.
guy came in, and so we didn't get that to ourselves because there was one other guy in the back, which is fine. But and then this movie turned out to be kind of nothing, and I feel bad because we totally could have gone to see Krampus and gotten that to ourselves.
Yeah,
But it is what it is.
it is. But I mean, at least now we know it's bad. I'm honestly happier we saw it today and not next week on my birthday.
Yeah, that would have ruined your birthday, bro.
That really would have. That would have really sucked.
Also, I
So
looked it up. I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes. This movie is getting like amazing reviews, and I have no idea why. It's got like a here, I'll pull up the thing right now. It's got a 92% critic score and a 69% audience score. Both of those are way too high.
yeah,
So Nicolas Cage, love the man to death. He's by far my favorite actor because he dominates every time he's on the screen. But I don't know, the movie itself was a total miss.
It really was. Honestly, I'm a little worried for its positioning because this might end up in one of our videos at the end of the year.
Uh-oh.
Like I don't know. Like I'm struggling. I'm struggling with some movies on that list now. Like that's not great. Like there's
Damn.
some movies that are solid in that list. Like solid in that list. But other ones where I'm like, I don't know.
This one's in jeopardy, bro. Alright.
Yeah, it might. I don't know. But anyway,
That should wrap up our reviews
yeah.
there.
So next week
So,
we have
next
something
week,
really fun. As I
it
said,
is
I am
Isaac's birthday, the day
it
we're
is my
going to
birthday.
the theater.
So we're gonna go see
Happy
some movies.
birthday, Isaac. What are you, like,
Thank you very
9?
much.
Are you, like,
Mentally,
2?
yes.
Well, I know
Uh,
that, but, like,
I'm turning
if I were to if I were
25.
to if I were to carbon date you.
I'm turning 25.
Wow. Way to go. You did it.
Yeah, I made it. Didn't think I would, but I did. Uh,
Congrats. You're a
but
whole quarter.
yeah, I'm a whole ass quarter. I love it. Uh, but moving on to next week. We will be watching Rise of the Guardians, which is one of my favorite DreamWorks movies. I actually really
They're
enjoy that movie.
bringing it back for the Christmas season.
Yep, I'm excited. They're also bringing back Die Hard for the 35th, I think it's 35th anniversary of the
I think
movie or
so.
something like that.
I think so.
Uh the new Hayao Miyazaki movie, Studio Ghibli movie, The Boy and the Heron. I'm actually
Hmm.
excited to see this. It actually looks, especially after the latest trailer that we saw yesterday, at this latest viewing, it
Right.
looks really actually good. I actually
It looks
really am
very good.
excited for it. I am very excited for it. And then lastly, what I'm excited for is Monty Python and the Holy Grail is showing its 48 and a half year anniversary. So they're bringing it back to the theaters.
I mean, with such a milestone like that, how could you not?
I know, right? I am actually excited to go see these. I'm so stoked.
All right. And
It's gonna be a fun day.
since it's your birthday, all spiriteds are null and void, so you get to see anything you want. I don't get
Yes.
to complain about anything.
No, you don't.
I
And
mean,
what
not
I'm
that I
really
would,
excited
but
about, what one thing I'm actually really excited about is we're gonna have 3 movies on one episode of the podcast that we get to have
oh
silly ratings
god.
for.
Oh god, yeah.
This is I'm already thinking of what I'm going to be
We're
what I could
only
give
gonna
it.
have one new movie next week. God
Yeah,
damn.
I know. The rest are things. See, here's the thing. I
Ungodly.
haven't seen Die Hard in years. Like
I haven't.
years.
It's been so long since I've seen it that I don't even cognitively remember it at all. I think my dad
Uh,
watched it when I was 11, so I remember pretty much.
90%,
I know the concept, but I don't remember any details about it, so it'll be pretty much
90%
new
of the
for me.
details I remember from this movie are from memes.
Okay. All
Like
right.
that is 90% of what I remember about that movie. And then Monty Python and the Holy Grail is just fun. Like it's
All right.
so good. Like it's so random that I don't even remember half the jokes. So, but anyway, uh that's it for this episode,
All
everyone.
right. Yeah. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. And just another thing here, we have gotten so many more subscribers and so many more views off of that 100 movie suggestions video that I made. I am I'm in the process of making another one, but I have to watch 100 good movies first, so it might be a while. But thank you so much for watching and liking and viewing that one. And subscribing, it means a lot to us. If
Yes, it does.
if you like what we're doing here, and if you like, the different kind of movies we go to see all the time, please subscribe away if you made it this far. Really
Yes.
helps us out, really keeps us going. Um, and yeah, it. Thank you guys so much for watching again.
Yep.
That's a wrap. Roll credits.